Imagine living in a house that stays warm in brutal winters, without electricity, metal, or modern insulation. Yet centuries ago, Native Americans built homes that could hold dozens of people and survive the harsh forests of North America. The question is, how did these wooden houses stay warm, dry, and breathable all year long? To understand the answer, we must travel back over 500 years, deep into the forests of the Northeast. Here lived the powerful Haudenosaunee, known to Europeans as the Iroquois Confederacy, nations united by politics, culture, and architecture. At the center of every village stood a remarkable structure, the Longhouse. At the center of every village stood a remarkable structure, the Longhouse. These were not small huts. Some stretched over 60 meters long and housed multiple families together. But the real genius of the Longhouse wasn't its size. It was its design. The roof curved like an enormous wooden tunnel. This shape wasn't accidental, it reduced wind pressure and helped snow slide off during heavy winter storms. Flexible wooden poles formed a strong arch, almost like a natural aerodynamic shell. In other words, centuries before modern engineering, these builders were already shaping structures to work with nature. But warmth was an even bigger challenge. Winters in the Northeast could drop far below freezing. So how did dozens of people stay warm inside a wooden building? The secret was layered elm bark. Thick sheets of bark overlapped like shingles, trapping heat while blocking icy winds. Inside the Longhouse, fires burned along the central corridor. Each fire warmed several families living on platforms along both sides of the building. Heat slowly rose toward the curved ceiling, spreading warmth through the entire structure. In effect, the Longhouse functioned like a giant thermal chamber. But fire inside a wooden building creates another problem: smoke. Instead of chimneys, small vents were cut directly into the roof. These smoke holes allowed hot air to escape while still keeping most heat inside. It was a surprisingly simple ventilation system, yet incredibly effective. But the Longhouse wasn't just an engineering achievement. It also reflected the social structure of Iroquois society. Multiple generations lived together under one roof: grandparents, parents, children, and relatives. Families were organized through maternal clans, meaning women held enormous influence in the household. In fact, the entire Iroquois Confederacy described their alliance as a great longhouse.
The spirits of the forest were restless that winter. The wind carried their whispers through the trees.
Different nations were like families living in separate sections of one enormous home. The structure itself became a symbol of unity, cooperation, and shared survival. A design that protected not just bodies from the cold, but communities from division. Long before modern insulation or architecture textbooks, these builders had already mastered the balance between nature and design. The Iroquois Longhouse wasn't just a shelter. It was engineering, culture, and community woven into one extraordinary home.